President Trump has repeatedly threatened Iran with ground operations and the occupation of some islands in the Persian Gulf. There is no doubt that the President of the United States, under pressure from the terrorist organization Mossad, became a pawn in the hands of the Zionist Prime Minister in the war and aggression against Iran due to his record in the Epstein case. The President of the United States, who has become known as the most lying president of the world and has no stability of thought or discourse, is not trustworthy in any way, and unfortunately, the leaders of the United States have delegated the authority to command the armed forces to someone who, due to imbalance, dangerous and wrong positions and decisions, has led the U.S. Army into the swamp of death. Trump threatens an issue one morning and retreats that same evening. He talks about negotiations for a while and decides to continue the war hours later. This unbalanced and deceitful person has caused great damage to the people of America, Europe, and the countries of the world, especially the countries of the West Asian region. The U.S. president has proven that the only language he knows is the language of force. In response to Trump's recent threats of ground operations or occupation of any part of Iranian territory, which of course is nothing more than a wish, we announced that the warriors of Islam have been waiting for such actions for a long time to prove that aggression and occupation will not result in anything other than humiliating captivity and dismemberment and disappearance of the aggressors. And American commanders and soldiers will become good food for the sharks of the Persian Gulf.
که تجاوز و اشغال نتیجه‌ای جز اسارت تحقیرآمیز و قطعه شدن و مفقود شدن متجاوزان را در بر نخواهد داشت و فرماندهان و سربازان آمریکایی خوراک خوبی برای کوسه‌های خلیج فارس خواهند شد.
The Pentagon is reportedly preparing for weeks of ground operations in Iran, according to U.S. officials cited by the Washington Post. Plans could involve both special operations raids and conventional infantry, though whether President Donald Trump would approve them remains uncertain. The Trump administration has deployed U.S. Marines to the region as the conflict enters its fifth week and is planning to send thousands of soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Division. Secretary of State Marco Rubio emphasized that ground troops are not essential to achieving U.S. objectives, but their deployment provides flexibility to adjust strategy.
As the Department of War has consistently outlined, we are on or ahead of schedule in that operation and expect to conclude it at the appropriate time here in a matter of weeks, not months, and the progress is going very well. Obviously, we have some work to do. We have to finish the job, and we are finishing that job. I did describe to our allies, however, that immediately after this thing ends we're done with our objectives, one of the immediate challenges we're going to face is an Iran that may decide that they want to set up a tolling system in the Straits of Hormuz. Not only is this illegal, it's unacceptable, it's dangerous to the world, and it's important that the world have a plan to confront it. The United States is prepared to be a part of that plan. We don't have to lead that plan, but we're happy to be a part of it. But these countries have a lot at stake, not just the G7 countries, but countries in Asia and all over the world have a lot at stake and should contribute greatly to that effort to ensure that neither the Straits of Hormuz or frankly any international waterways should ever be something that's controlled or tolled by a nation state or by a terroristic government like the one that exists in Iran today in that radical clerical regime.
The war's risk of expansion grew as Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis launched attacks on Israel for the first time since the conflict began. Houthis have shown the ability to strike beyond Yemen, potentially threatening key shipping routes in the Red Sea and around the Arabian Peninsula. Israel continued strikes on Iran-backed infrastructure in Iran and Lebanon. In Lebanon, Israeli attacks killed 3 journalists and a soldier, while targeting Hezbollah positions. Israel claims one journalist was part of Hezbollah intelligence reporting on Israeli forces. Iran continued attacks on Israel and Gulf states. Drones targeted leaders' residences in Iraq's Kurdistan region. Iran also warned it would retaliate strongly if key infrastructure or economic centers were attacked. The conflict has disrupted shipping, particularly in the Strait of Hormuz, a critical route for global oil and gas supplies. The Houthis' new attacks could further threaten global shipping. The Bab el-Mandeb Strait off Yemen remains a potential flashpoint, vital for ships heading to the Suez Canal. Meanwhile, Iran has allowed limited passage of Pakistani-flagged vessels to ease maritime congestion. As U.S. midterm elections approach, public opposition to the war is rising. Demonstrators have taken to streets nationwide, urging an end to the conflict.
We got to do something about Trump. Just cannot continue this. The country's going down the tubes in a hurry.
One thing I'll give Trump credit for is mobilizing the dissenters. And prior to 2016, I was very apolitical. And when I saw the things that were starting to happen, and now in recent months, I can't stand by and be silent anymore, simply because of my boys and their friends and the future that's at stake.
President Trump has warned of targeting Iranian energy infrastructure, including power stations, if Iran does not open the Strait of Hormuz, but extended deadlines for compliance. Amid escalating strikes, Israel has also targeted Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Russia's state nuclear corporation, Rosatom, has evacuated staff from the Bushehr plant, citing threats to nuclear safety. The conflict now carries risks not only for the region but for global energy and security.